Hey y'all, IrixGuy here, and that's my Phantom 3 right there hovering in the background. I'm actually kind of doing a couple of things while I film this video. This video, I want to talk about flying over water, because that's a question I've gotten from a few fans, and I promise to respond to that. If you are a subscriber of my channel already, youtube.com/IrixGuy, then you've probably seen hundreds of videos where I'm over the ocean and I'm getting really low above the water, and I don't seem to care. So what are my tips for flying over water? Well, the number one thing that I would have to mention, and before I continue with this, I'm letting that hover because I'm testing. I've switched from iPhone 6 Plus right here to the smaller iPod Touch, and I'm testing to see if there's any sort of grain or overheating issues that will occur throughout the duration of the flight. So far it's silky smooth, no issues. Everything looks absolutely incredible. So I'm doing that while I'm filming this video. I've got about 60% battery life remaining, so that's why that's hovering right there. So flying over water is something that, number one, I don't recommend that anybody do it. Because if you fly over water, you've got to go out there with 100%. When you go out there, before you even start the Phantom 3 up, you've got to be prepared 100% to lose it. So once you take off, even before you take off, you're taking it out on a boat, you're taking it out on a beach, assume that Phantom is a lost investment as soon as you walk out of your home or wherever. Assume that it's gone, because if you don't go at it with that assumption, then what's going to happen, you're probably going to lose it, and then you're going to be upset, whether it's the dollars amount that were lost or just the fact that you lost it. So if you can't in your mind deal with the loss of your Phantom 3, don't fly over water. Now, if you are able to do that, if you don't mind losing it from a cost perspective or just a mental anguish perspective, then what you can do is take it out over water. But what I would recommend before flying over water is that, number one, I would make sure that I have thoroughly tested and flown that Phantom multiple times in a dry environment, a safe and responsible environment that's dry with no obstructions, such as this huge field right here. Grassy field, nothing around to get in the way. So I would do that first, and I would obviously do that with the firmware that you're going to be using when you take it out over water, because you want to make sure that you haven't introduced another variable into the mix. So for example, if you just updated your firmware, I would never fly firmware that's brand new unless it's in a completely wide open and obstruction-free location, because that's a mistake that some people make. They put the latest firmware on there, and then they go out on a boat or they go out to the beach and they lose their Phantom in the water. Or maybe it's the first time they've flown a Phantom and they take it out to the beach, they didn't even calibrate it properly. Or maybe their home point wasn't set. Maybe they just went way out over the ocean thinking, oh, I'll be able to get back. Not realizing that there's a breeze that comes in and goes out, and that when that thing's going out, the wind is stronger than when they're coming back. So they're really fighting the wind to get out there. And then hopefully the wind will be at the back of the Phantom on the way back in and let it get in without consuming too much battery. But if you put that into the reverse scenario, if you're out over water, say your boat's offshore, and you fly to shore, and you get down to low percentage, maybe 20% battery, it's like, oh, no problem. What you don't realize is that when you're flying back to your boat, you're having to go through that strong wind. It's probably gonna run out of juice and drop in the water. So there's a lot of things that one needs to take into consideration before flying over water. And again, as I will reiterate over and over and over, do not even take the Phantom near water if you're not prepared to lose it, because there's a good possibility you may. With that said, I've had a few hundred successful flights over water, and to this day, I have not lost a Phantom. I did crash one Phantom. It was my fault. It was Phantom 2 Vision Plus. I crashed it into a tree in a safe and responsible location, and it was a total loss. My fault, not equipment failure. But with that said, water is a different beast. And if you're going to fly over water, be sure you know that the operations of that drone inside and out before you even get close to water. Because there's something about water, just a psychological thing. When you get near water, you get excited and you want to have fun, and you loosen up. So even if you went near water with your drone not intending to fly, when you get out on that water or near that water, there's a good possibility that all of a sudden you may have the skill set in your mind that, oh, I need to fly over water, and you're really not ready for it and you lose your drone. So I hope this is useful information. Again, I'm gonna land this. Check this out on this case right here. And that's also good practice, because when I'm landing out on a boat, I land on top of my waterproof case, because that's a flat surface, and that's something else I would recommend. If you are going to get the courage up to fly over water, try landing on a case in a wide open and completely safe location like this first. Because if you can't do it there, your chances landing on the front of a boat with that case rocking, your skill level is not going to be acceptable, and you're going to crash. And the other thing I recommend if you're flying near water, and you've already seen this in other videos, if you're flying over water, always have your quick disconnect prop guards on, especially if you're landing on a boat. And you can see there I've got a little white scratch mark on that. That's when I was landing on the front of my boat, and I hit the side. It landed and it toppled over. Had I not had these on, I would have broken a prop. Still have not broken a single prop with the Phantom 3. So quick disconnect prop guards are a must. And as you can see, they easy on, easy off. So when you're packing up, put it back in your waterproof case. Just super simple. So those are my tips, and again, and I reiterate, do not fly over water unless you are completely ready to lose your Phantom. And maybe the controller too, and maybe other stuff, because maybe you're in the boat and the boat rocks and everything falls in the water. Be prepared for the worst case scenario. Fly safely. Subscribe if you haven't already, youtube.com/IrixGuy. And again, check the link within this video's description. You can find the Phantom 3, all the accessories, the case. It's all there. If you can't find it, drop me a message. I'll try to find you a link. Y'all have a good day.